Hello and welcome back to the Mum Boss Method podcast. Today, we're diving into a topic that will resonate with so many of you, and that is how to make your diet, your next diet, the last diet you will ever do, especially if you're a busy mum, especially if you're navigating the challenges of perimenopause. I know firsthand that as a busy woman, prioritizing yourself often feels like a luxury you just can't afford. So, between juggling work, the kids, the household responsibilities, and everything else, it's really easy to push your needs to the back burner. And then, when your hormones start throwing you curveballs, either during perimenopause or just generally, it can feel really overwhelming. And it's no wonder you are looking for the next quick fix, the next, highly promising solution to your weight loss and fitness problems because you don't have a huge amount of time. So, of course, you're going to want to grab for those things that are going to get you to your goals as quickly and as easily as possible. But here's the thing. This cycle of putting yourself last is holding you back from your weight loss goals. Many of my clients also found themselves searching and reaching for the quick fixes before they joined me. But these shortcuts led to frustration and failure. And that probably sounds familiar to you. And that's because the quick fixes, the fads, the gimmicks, the unreasonable requests that are made of you by some of the diet culture and companies' worst offenders are just not sustainable. So, whilst they might promise you quick results, and you might get some of those results don't last. So, I want to help you change that. And we're going to go through a bit of a step-by-step process, and I'm going to give you some examples of how you can do that. The first step to making your next diet the last one you ever do is to clarify your goals. What do you truly want to achieve? Is it to feel more confident in your clothes? Is it to have more energy to keep up with your kids, whether they're big or small? Is it that maybe you want to embrace this phase of your life and manage your menopause symptoms better? Whatever your goals are, identifying them is crucial. Think of this as your destination on a road trip. You wouldn't embark on a journey that you've never done before without knowing where you're headed, right? So it's a bit like your sat nav. So once you've established your goals, it's time to create a plan. And this is where many commercial diets fall short because they skip the basics. Okay, they make it really complicated. They overwhelm you with information and overcomplicated rules and regulations and systems. But most of all, they skip the basics, and that's exactly where I come in. So I want to help you focus on what truly works. And yes, that is the boring yet effective basics. Forget the fads, forget the expensive supplements, forget the quick fixes. Instead, let's talk about the basics that are really going to help you to get results. And sometimes those results might feel like they're coming slower than if you were to do, I don't know, a meal replacement shake diet, for example. But here's the thing. Actually, because you have tried diet after diet after diet, and now you're in a phase of your life where things aren't working like they used to. You maybe used to be able to cut out a couple of snacks, and all of a sudden, you know, you just drop a couple of pounds, and that doesn't work anymore. That's because we need to change the approach and make sure that we're focusing on these basics and fitting them into your life. So, like I said, the first thing we're going to talk about is solid nutrition. And I'm just going to give you really, really simple steps here. Two simple steps that I want you to focus on. And for some of you, this might feel like a huge change. And for others, you might feel like, okay, well, I think I'm doing that. Maybe I need to focus it on it a bit more. So those two things are include protein in every meal and include at least 5 portions of fruits and vegetables every day. And like I said, for some of you, this is going to feel like something you're already on your way to doing, if not already doing. For others, it might feel like a monumental change. But start with one meal. Okay, so maybe you pick breakfast or lunch and you begin by adding more protein, fruits, and vegetables into that. You don't need to take anything away, just enhance what you're already eating. So, for example, you usually have Weetabix for breakfast. Why not add some fruit and a protein-rich yogurt? Or if you love a cheese sandwich for lunch, consider adding some lean meat into that. So it could be like a cheese and ham sandwich or a cheese and tuna sandwich and a side of fruit. Okay. Now, the point of focusing on these basics of nutrition is we want to make sure that you're fueling your body properly. We want to make sure that you have energy. We want to make sure that you are not constantly thinking about the next meal because you're so busy, starving yourself because you've cut out everything that you deem is bad or that diet culture has told you is bad. Now, when my clients join me in the Last Diet Club, we focus on these quick nutrition wins. So I'll give you an example. Claire, for instance, simply by adding protein to her meals, she found herself snacking less. So her danger zone was like 3 p.m., 4 p.m. She found herself snacking less and also in the evening, and she lost weight without counting calories, because it's all about making those small sustainable changes. Now, if you are menopausal, and like I said, you know, 10 years ago, you just had to maybe cut back your portion sizes a little bit or drop a couple of snacks and it would all be fine, and you'd drop a couple of pounds really easily in a couple of weeks. You might not understand why that's not working anymore. And this is where we start to build a picture, okay? Because what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that you are getting enough protein, enough fruit and veggies, that you are fueling yourself. But the next step is one of the most important steps. It's movement, general movement. So what I want you to do is I want you to aim for a daily walk of 20 to 30 minutes if you can. And if you already do this, see if you can increase that by 5 to 10 minutes. Now, if your time is tight, which I imagine it is, break these down into like 3 10-minute walks throughout the day. That doesn't even have to be round the block. It could be a quarter way round the block and back again. And getting really creative with your steps can really help here, especially if you're listening to me right now and you're thinking, 20 minutes, where am I going to find 20 minutes? Have you seen my day? So if that feels like a challenge, I want you to know that my client Libby managed to increase her daily steps from an average of 5,000 to 8,500 just by finding clever ways to incorporate movement into her busy schedule. And this is one of the things I want to talk about when it comes to menopause and weight loss. Like getting those steps, getting your general movement, being more generally active is so, so important. Yes, there are hormonal changes when we start going into perimenopause. Obviously, that's what it is. And yes, that does mean that we start to hold our body fat in different parts of our body, normally around the stomach, which for some people they've never done before. I know that that's what I've definitely found, is that I hold more body fat around my stomach than I ever used to. And that can feel really, really uncomfortable. It can make you feel quite down. It can make clothing, things like jeans and stuff feel really uncomfortable as well. And you might not feel as confident in your clothes. But what I want you to know is this isn't that your hormones have all of a sudden started ganging up on you. I mean, they kind of have. But It's not that all of a sudden you've gone into perimenopause and like every single sweet treat you look at just ends up on your stomach. But that change in hormones completely changes the way that our body holds on to additional fat. But also our habits change as we go through perimenopause. So maybe when you had, two toddlers in the house in your 30s, your early 30s, you were running around after those toddlers all the time. Well, now your kids are older and maybe they're teenagers and they don't need you to do that quite so much. So actually, you find yourself doing less steps. Or maybe perimenopause is affecting your sleep negatively. So you're much more tired all of the time. So you find it a lot harder to find the motivation and the energy to get out for a walk. Completely understandable. And by the way, I understand. I've been there. I feel that as well because I am perimenopausal. So, what I do with my clients is try to find ways to not only get more movement into their day, but also we try and find ways of improving the sleep, improving the energy, so that we're attacking this from both ends, not just trying to increase your movement, but also trying to make sure that we can improve your sleep and your energy at the same time. Now, we can't overlook the importance of exercise, especially strength training. Now, as we age, our estrogen levels decline, and that means that maintaining muscle mass and bone density becomes crucial. I don't know about you, but I want to be able to get up and down from a chair in my 90s without assistance, without a frame to have to lean on, and I'm sure that you do too. And in the last Diet Club, I help my clients to discover how to move their bodies in a way that fits their lifestyle. Whether it's at the gym, whether it's at the home, we find activities that are enjoyable and effective. So take another Claire. I have a lot of Claires. I have a lot of teachers, by the way. So this is another Claire. For example, together we explored different workouts until she found a routine that she loved, which enabled her to stay consistent and reach her goals. Now, when she started working with me, she absolutely hated exercise with a passion. She didn't even want to go for a walk. And now she looks forward to her home workouts every week. And by the way, when you are perimenopausal, whilst this strength training is super, super, super important for maintaining that muscle mass, for helping to maintain your bone density, which stops you from or helps reduce your risk of things like osteoporosis in the future, that's not to say you can't do other activities as well. I have lots of clients that enjoy running, Pilates, yoga, but one of the things I really want to help you do is get strong and get fit at this time of your life. And you might be used to thinking that you need to go to the gym, 4-5 times a week for an hour at a time. And listen, I know that when you are struggling with energy, when maybe your sleep is poor, when maybe your stress levels are high, and you really are struggling to have that energy and motivation, that might not always be doable. So one of the things that I make sure that I do is find you workouts that are short but effective. I create you workouts that are short and effective, so that you don't have to spend an hour when you probably don't have the time, the energy, or the inclination to do it. Okay, lastly, we must address the often overlooked aspects of stress and sleep. Now, high stress and poor sleep can sabotage your efforts. They make it harder for you to stick to your healthy habits. With everything on your plate, work, family, we've already talked about this, personal responsibilities, maybe aging parents, it's no wonder that stress levels can skyrocket. But it doesn't have to be this way, because we can work together to create routines and coping strategies that help you to manage stress without resorting to comfort eating. And we also focus on optimizing your sleep to ensure that you wake up refreshed and ready to tackle the day. So take my client Louise. When she started working with me, she had some significant family stresses that were ongoing that affected her sleep, they affected her stress levels, and they affected her eating habits and her progress, because often she used food, she emotionally ate in order to help her deal with those stresses. Now, what we did is we worked together to develop a toolkit of strategies, and she learned to use those to navigate the challenges, the stress, and what was going on within the family dynamic without derailing her progress. And now she doesn't need to rely on food in order to cope with those stressful situations. So if you've tried the commercial diets in the past or some of the quick fix methods and you're feeling frustrated that they don't seem to work for you, I want you to hear this. It's not you, it's them. They don't work for you because, firstly, most of them aren't sustainable long term within your real life, either because of the complicated rules and regulations and systems, or because they're just too restrictive, meaning that you put your life on hold in order to diet. Now, when you have a crazy busy life with lots of responsibilities, that just doesn't work. And actually, I don't know about you, but as a middle-aged woman who spent years doing that, I just don't want to do it anymore. I want to have a social life. I want to meet a friend for coffee and cake. I want to be able to dunk a biscuit in my tea and enjoy a bar of chocolate or a glass of wine. So if you focus on the basics that I have talked about, on good nutrition principles, on upping your daily movement, on strength training and managing your stress and optimizing your sleep, you can make progress by focusing on those 5 habits consistently. Now, the trick is finding a way to make all of this work in your busy life. And this is exactly where I can help you. So, as I wrap up today's episode, I want you to remember this. You don't have to navigate this journey alone. If you're feeling overwhelmed or unsure about how to implement these changes in your life, and we've talked about 5 things here, I'll repeat them again: nutrition principles, protein, fruit, and veg, getting more generally active, i.e., your steps, making sure that you strength train, managing your stress, and optimizing your sleep. Okay, you don't have to navigate and implement these on your own. If you're feeling overwhelmed or unsure about how you can implement those into your life, I can help you. Imagine what it would feel like to have a guide who supports you and helps you to create that personalized plan that fits seamlessly into your routine. Now, together, we can tackle those obstacles. We can celebrate your victories and we can transform your mindset around food and fitness. So, if you're ready to make your next diet the last one you ever do, the one that is sustainable long term because it focuses on healthy habits and implementing those into your life rather than complicated rules and regulations and systems and things that are designed to get you quick fit, results really fast but aren't sustainable in real life. The next intake of the Last Diet Club starts on the 30th of September, and I invite you to come and join me, and together we can turn your goals into reality, because the Last Diet Club brings together the best parts of one-to-one coaching, where you will get specific one-to-one tailored targets, nutrition goals, and movement goals. You'll get tailored feedback and support from me, as well as group coaching, where you will be able to lean on a group and community of other women who are all navigating their busy, complicated, chaotic lives whilst trying to lose fat. It brings together the best of both of those worlds. And like I say, together we can turn your goals into reality whilst allowing you to enjoy the things that you love without sacrificing your busy lifestyle. So, if you are interested in knowing more about the Last Diet Club, as I said, my next intake starts on the 30th of September. Click on the link in the show notes. Go and check out those details. Or if you want to ask me a question, come and find me on social media. Again, the links are all in the show notes. And I can't wait to help you on your journey and support you through this. Thank you so much for listening. Have an awesome week ahead, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.